Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be making a birthday card for my nephew. He loves Halloween, so I'm actually using this Sizzix cake pop-up die set to create this cake that's decorated as a Halloween themed cake. And I'm going to be using a lot of different die sets for all of the Halloween decorations, so I'll try to mention them as we go along and also link to everything in the description box below if you're curious to check out any of those products. But I really love how this turned out, super cute, and of course this cake is just a very general base, so you could definitely decorate it and theme it however you like. And I made something similar, a pop-up card for my nephew last year too, and he really loved it. So that's why I went back to doing a pop-up, Halloween themed as well. If you want to check out last year's card, I'll link to it in the upper right corner. But let's get started making this card. So I've got the base of the cake here. There are actually two dies that will cut your cake tiers. There's a large tier and a small tier, and I'm just going to do a little bit of inking around the edges just to give the cake a little bit more dimension and depth to make it look a little bit more 3D. Of course, it does pop up and take a 3D shape, but this will just help to sell that illusion and make it a little bit less flat. And just try to, every fold is going to be a mountain fold. And so I would definitely recommend, folding and burnishing all of the score lines really well, and then folding it so that you know how the cake is eventually going to get assembled. That way you know which end is up. And the part that has the little glue tab, that's the bottom of that cake tier. And so I just put a little bit of glue on that glue tab and then folded everything down flat so that the semicircle flap just lands right over it. Because this is meant to fold completely flat inside your card, that's how I like to attach any kind of 3D items that are meant to fold flat. That way you know everything lands where it's supposed to. So this fencing is from a Diamond Press Halloween set. The spider web that I showed earlier, that's from a Spellbinders set, as well as this cat. And the cat does have some white and pink for the nose. Here's how I close that. So as I mentioned, just put glue on your glue tab and then fold everything down so that it all meets up where it's meant to. I'm going to work on the front for a little bit here, just so that I have it when it's still flat and there isn't a lot of bulk on the inside. That way I can still burnish all of my layers. And this is an embossed panel that just has happy birthday in multiple directions, and it's shiny because I just put clear Versamark ink across the entire panel and then clear heat embossed it so that it just has that enamel glossy look. These little jack-o'-lanterns I die cut from different colored cardstock, and they are from an iCrafter Halloween tunnel set. And so I picked these because they have a little bit of a scarier face to them as compared to the Diamond Press set of jack-o'-lanterns that I have. So the ones in the Diamond Press set, I think it's from the Haunted House set that I do have another video for. If you want, you can check that one out too. I'll link to that above as well. That one has much friendlier looking jack-o'-lanterns, and they're larger too. So scale-wise, I wasn't sure if they would fit necessarily onto this cake. So your cake will be in 4 pieces and they'll get attached like this. The small tier gets attached to the bottom tier just on that semicircle, and it pretty well covers the entire top of your bottom tier. Then once you have your 2 halves, they're going to meet up like this where they have that little bit of a gap in the center, which is an opportunity for you to actually decorate the top of your cake. And So what I'm going to end up doing is actually start by just attaching part of these two halves together so that I can sort of preview how it looks in its 3D. So on the sides of your cake tiers, there's glue tabs. And I use a combination of dry adhesive and liquid adhesive. The dry adhesive is nice because I can get it all the way to the edge and make sure that's got a really nice seal. And it's an instant stick so that I can open it right away and it'll still hold. But the liquid adhesive is great because it's gonna give me a nice permanent bond once it's completely dry and cured. So now that the two halves are attached, but just on the one side, I can actually open and close it to preview as I set my elements on the top of the cake here. So this ghost is from the iCrafter set, and the front of the ghost I actually cut from that sheet of paper, just is some glow-in-the-dark embossed cardstock that I've been die cutting from for all of my Halloween cards this year. So this ghost on the front side will actually glow in the dark. On the back, he won't, but I think that's gonna be okay because mostly you'll be seeing this from the front. And I just wanted to make sure that as I set this in, that the ghost will actually fit inside the card when everything is closed down. So now he's kind of marking the tallest anything can get can be. If I just stick to the top of that ghost as the maximum height, then I know that anything I continue to place on inside the card will actually fit once everything is closed down. So definitely don't forget to kind of preview that so that you can make sure that your elements will not stick out of your card when it's closed. Now I've got some bats here, and again, I'm gonna also be sticking the bats on the front and the back. That way everything looks as finished and polished as possible from both the front and the back. And I'll just have 3 little bats flying around. One bat is from the Spellbinders set. That's the one that's at the very top and is the largest. The 2 other bats are actually from the iCrafter set. And I'm going to attach these at a little bit of an angle. Now, one thing with the ghost that you might have noticed when I previewed the card at the very beginning is that tail end of him actually sticks beyond the diameter of the top tier. So when it opens really easily and cleanly, but to close it back down, you do have to bend the tail of the ghost a little bit. And so if you don't want that to be an issue, then I would make sure to stick all of your elements so that they are within the diameter of that top tier of the cake. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing where wherever there's an edge or an outer edge, I'm going to put some double-sided dry adhesive. That ensures that I get adhesive all the way to the edge and a nice seal from the outside. And I'll have also a nice instant grab, and I can preview, open and close my card right away. But once I'm done with this, I'm still going to scribble on some liquid adhesive so that I get a nice permanent bond once it's completely dried. So before I glue everything down, just want to make sure that I have everything where I want it and how it's going to fit inside the card base itself. And then you can just take out all of these little paper release liners. And as I mentioned earlier, what I prefer to do whenever I'm making anything that is 3D but is intended to be able to fold down flat is I like to put all of my adhesive where it needs to go and then just close everything flat. That way you know that everything is going to meet up exactly where it's intended to and that it will fold down flat as you expect it to. If you try to attach things when they're in their sort of 3D form, I always find that I'm not as precise about that as I need to be, and sometimes things don't fold down flat again as I expect. So now that the two halves are together, we have these semicircles at the bottom here, and that is what gets attached to your card base. So half of this will get attached to the bottom of the card base, which does need to be top folding, and then the other half will get attached to the top of the card base. And having that liquid glue is also nice because it does give you a little bit of wiggle room to reposition things if you need. Not a ton, but a little bit. So again, I'm just going to close my card base down because the intention is that this should fold completely flat and fit into a regular envelope, and it should go through the mail, no problem. It's not really a lot of bulk, especially since I'm not putting any embellishments on the outside. So I think this will actually be able to post for just a single stamp. But I'm including it with a gift, so it's going into a box anyways. If you want to be certain that it arrives on time, then you may want to pay that little bit of extra postage for extra thick, packaging. I think it's just an extra 15 or 20 cents, so it's not a lot to ensure that your card makes it to its destination. So that is my card complete. I think it's really fun to decorate these little cakes. With some finagling, you can get it to stay open, and I would just recommend opening and closing this often so that it's well exercised by the time it makes it to the card recipient, because once you've opened and closed it a lot, then it'll just have that memory of moving in that way. And so hopefully that makes it a lot easier once this card gets opened by the card recipient. So I had a ton of fun making this card. I think that my nephew's gonna really love it. And of course I kept the outside really simple just to keep all of the fun on the inside and all of the surprise on the inside. He's gonna be very underwhelmed when he first sees the card, but hopefully he'll really enjoy it once he opens it. I hope that you liked this card too, and if you did, please like, comment, and share this video. And if you'd like to see new videos as I post them, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Thanks so much, and until my next video, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!